That's great. Well, let's move on to the next question, which is about getting those channel partners to participate more and to take the training so that they know how to sell the products better. So I'll direct this question first to Jeff. So Jeff, why do some channel training programs struggle with adoption and success, and how do incentives help solve that problem?
Yeah, we get pulled into those types of situations because a lot of these programs lack generally a marketing strategy or an actual effective marketing strategy. And those programs suffer just from low visibility or awareness or perceived value from the partner side. The partners are asking, what's in it for me? It's maybe unclear that what they're going to get out of it or benefit from it. The other part is the training is not mandatory. You cannot force your partners to take it. You're competing for their attention and time. And then internally within the organization that's looking to offer it is usually it's the strategy is left to the training department, and it's not a collaborative or comprehensive overall company strategy. And we find the best projects are the ones where you have that collaboration and senior leadership support in multiple different departments that are behind that push. And that's really why most companies see training as a cost center, where we look at it as a growth lever. And it really comes down to a strategic reframe because it's not really just about training, it's about mind share. And if you think about your partners, if they're not thinking about your products and your brand, then they're selling somebody else's. And so we come in and look at how do we incentivize these partners, not just from a training tool perspective, but from a overall marketing strategy across the entire company. And we think of it kind of from three major pillars. And one is customer acquisition, like how do we get more customer eyeballs on our content and thinking about our brand? How do we get them to consume our content? So we have a content consumption or engagement pillar, and then really taking these partners and turning them into brand champions. So how do we drive that advocacy to then fuel more acquisition and grow the program and company further? All of that boils down to revenue growth, because if we do all those things well, then ultimately we see that result in increased revenue. So kind of digging into each one of those, when we look at that acquisition part, we look at incentivizing all the behaviors that lead people down the path towards, what Brett was talking about, really those metrics. So just rewarding people for signing up. So and referring people, growing that audience of your partners within your learning in your learning environment. And we give the sales reps of the companies a positive message to go to their channel partners with, and saying like, hey, we're incentivizing our training. You should come and take these courses because this is what your benefits are. So we get that feedback that it's a feel good message for the sales reps to go to and approach their partners with. And then that really just fuels that expansion into new partner networks, new countries, new geographies. It allows that sales reps to have that feel good marketing message to expand with. The next pillar on engagement, that content consumption, we introduce virtual currency into the LMS, and we award that for all of the actions that people take that we know will drive value for the organization. So yeah, signing up, completing courses or programs, and all of those coins are tied to their actual exchangeable value to get the incentives. But it also then pushes people to do different levels, and so we know quite easily who are our top consumers of our content and taking the actions that we want versus who are the laggers, and then we can then differentiate our marketing messages to those different groups. And then the last part we actually really are big on is the incentivizing the advocacy piece. So we reward the partners for providing testimonials, so images and videos speaking about the training benefits that they've got, and then pushing that to their social media channels and then sending it into the company for them to use in their marketing. And what we're finding is that nothing attracts more customers like a happy customer. So that feedback loop of that advocacy pushing back into that acquisition pillar is really that cycle. And really what we find is that this becomes a competitive advantage for the companies that are deploying this strategy. And that's where they're capturing the mind share of their partners over their competitors. That incentivized training builds, first of all, it garners attention, it builds loyalty, and then it keeps your products top of mind. And we kind of look at it from a more product knowledge disseminated is going to result in more confidence speaking or selling from your partners to their buyers. You get more engagement that leads to stronger brand alignment, and then your advocacy is really what reaches your wider audience and garners that influence. So our statement we get is like mind share equals market share equals revenue. That's really where we come up the incentivized side.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, and I think Jeff, you have a good point there because I think about all the times in an organization you have resources competing for different initiatives and time, and how do you make certain that when a seller or an organization comes in and says, "Hey, I've got to spend time doing something," they're spending time doing it on the things that are going to have the most impact to that channel partners, outcomes, and the things you're looking for from a revenue standpoint. And I think getting a manner of approach that allows people to see the benefit, but also, sellers generally are competitive by nature, right? So they like to see where they're at, and then they like to boast about that. So I think the approach that you're talking about really hits home with how organizations that I've been working with are looking for getting people to devote that time, right? When I come in for my day and I'm looking through my to-do things and I have that open 20, 30, 40 minutes, how am I going to invest that time in a way that makes me feel good about where I want to be and where I want to go? And then that, spreads across the organization, and then getting that feedback into a system where you can use that to show that, these are outcomes that people are seeing. It's their voice that's telling. I think that creates much more engaging, and a much more impactful environment for people to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other part I would add to that is, again, kind of back to the metrics conversation as well, is we are looking at now associating what are the dollars of revenue per customer generated per year and per course completion. So if we can tie together what is the actual content dissemination value to each customer over a year and then even longer, then we start to look at, well, what's the value of this acquisition strategy? And then from there, once we get someone into our LMS, it's really top of funnel marketing. We now know who they are, we know what they do, what content they consume, and from there we can then look at, well, how long can we keep them affiliated with our training program, and then we can start to put a dollar value on what is the actual impact that this person is making for our organization. But the feedback we get is the incentives drive the revenue. Our largest manufacturing company started with 300 training, I should say 300 partners in the United States, and now are at over 50,000 in over 20 countries. And they've added tens of millions of dollars of revenue through this expansion strategy that I've just mentioned. So we've seen the impact in real expansion of number of customers, but also in the revenue side.
Yeah, it's impressive.